Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. This is J.R. Moore coming to you live from deep in the mountains of the Missouri Ozarks. On Tuesday, the 20th day of March, year of our Lord 2018, welcome to the John Moore Show. Breaking news, as of 28 minutes ago, another school shooting, this time in the state of Maryland at the Great Mills High School in the town of Great Mills, Maryland, about 70 miles from Washington, D.C. There's reports of injuries, and that's as much as we know at the moment. A very tragic situation taking place there as we speak. Prepper tip of the day. I want to encourage all of you to get your night vision now while you can. Even entry-level night vision, $200 or $300 night vision, is better than no night vision at all. Trust me, it truly, truly is. In fact, the entry-level night vision is roughly the equivalent of what we had in Vietnam as state-of-the-art 50 years ago. So get your night vision now while you can. That's your prepper tip of the day. And we do have a special guest waiting in the green room, my friend Sam Andrews. Sam is a gentleman who has had an unusual career, to say the least. I've known Sam since, 1994. And we're going to talk about a number of different matters, especially related to firearms technology, security, and probably some geopolitical matters mixed in as well. Good morning, Sam.
Good morning, John. Thank you for having me.
Well, good to have you here, sir. Well, you recently moved your home and your business from St. Louis County, Missouri, to down near Lebanon, Missouri, didn't you, sir?
Yes, we've built a 1,000-yard range and training center just southeast of Lebanon, Missouri.
And how would a person get in touch with you to find out more about this new range, this new facility?
Well, you could call the range number at 417-718-2597, or you could contact us on Facebook, the Freedom Center USA. It's a Facebook page. You could PM us there.
Okay, the Freedom Center USA. Well, you've done some unusual things in your life. You talked publicly on my show last year about something you did in Afghanistan, which kind of caught me off guard. And for those who have seen the film Charlie Wilson's War, I think was the title of it, you had a dramatic statement that you made, Sam, about what really happened in Afghanistan with those Stinger missiles, didn't you, sir?
Well, the movie itself didn't really depict a typical deployment of a Stinger in the downing of a Hind helicopter. So I thought that was one of the inaccuracies in the movie.
And you made a correction, and what really happened?
Well, typically mules were used to hump Stingers up to altitude. Holes were dug at altitude. We waited for the Hind helicopters to fly by, and when their engine heat and fuselages put us in defilation to their detection equipment, we'd pop out of a hole at altitude and fire off the Stinger.
You were shooting down. In other words, you were on 15,000 feet, and they were about 12,000 feet.
Well, typically they come in from one of two Soviet air bases, and they were not capable of flying above a specific altitude when they were loaded heavy with fuel and ordnance. So, of course, we tried to catch them coming in, not leaving when they were light.
Right. Well, and the public record before your announcement was that these were Afghan jihadists that were shooting down the Stingers, when in fact it was Sam Andrews, wasn't it?
Well, we don't like to get too specific on names involved, but I can tell you this: Jimmy Carter had our men in there as early as 1977, and of course, I was involved with that, and Jack Wheeler and some other folks around 1986.
All right. Well, that's phenomenal, Sam. We do thank you for doing that. Well, I don't know if you heard the breaking news, but as of about 32 minutes ago, another school shooting, another high school, this time in Maryland. in St. Mary's County. We don't have any more details at the moment, but prior, when we were talking about you coming back on my show, I suggested you read an article that I wrote about the Second Amendment, and about how specifically the technology to put a lot of lead downrange very rapidly has been around for well more than a century, hasn't it?
Absolutely. Long before the Second Amendment was penned and signed, I believe in 87, 81, somewhere in that time frame.
Right. Well, specifically, my article mentioned the 1892 Winchester lever-action rifle, and I had a video clip of a TV show from the 1960s titled The Rifleman, and Chuck Connors shoots an 1892 Winchester rifle 12 times in 4 seconds. I initially was joking, maybe I should stick to this. We should not show this to liberals, because they'll now want to ban 130-year-old Winchester rifles, won't they?
Well, I think it's important to notice about incremental gun control, the end game. The end game isn't to ban military rifles or full auto rifles. The end game is to ban all weapons, is to make sure that the public is completely disarmed. In fact, just a couple weeks ago, the United Nations had a big summit, and they agreed that the biggest obstacle to their agenda was the American gun owner.
Well, that can only mean one thing, that their agenda means implementing their United Nations protocols inside the 50 states of the United States. What else could it possibly mean, Sam?
Well, as soon as your Second Amendment gets related to something like rate of fire, we're in big trouble. Guys like Jerry Micklick can shoot a revolver 12 times with a reload in less than 3 seconds. And so when you take it from an unalienable right to a rate of fire issue, quickly becomes a slippery slope where, oh, well, you can shoot revolvers that fast? Well, we've got to ban revolvers too. So first it's full auto, then it's semi-auto, then it's lever guns, then it's then it's revolvers, then it's muskets, and pretty soon we're left to hopefully with a knife to cut tomatoes with.
The pending legislation in the state of Illinois would call for the banning of men and women under the age 21 from buying 50 caliber rifles. That kind of caught me off guard. The 50 caliber issue has not been an issue in legislation for a number of years, and I was a bit caught off guard by that. Were you aware of that, Sam?
Yes, and also it calls for the confiscation of guns from adult men between the ages of 18 and 21. Right.
I would be, if I was a police officer, I would be a bit humiliated if I was ordered to go to the home of an 18-year-old Marine and confiscate that 18-year-old Marine's rifle that he grew up shooting squirrels with.
Well, I can tell you this, the gun confiscation thing won't last for long because the police officers don't want to do it. In most jurisdictions, they are afraid to do it. They're not very good at it. And it's a really, really, really bad idea.
Well, it is for a lot of reasons. And I've worked with police officers professionally since 1973. And they're good guys, they're good gals. The majority of them become police officers for the right reasons. They want to help their community be safe. Typically, they become police officers in the community they grew up in or the state they grew up in. And I know out where I live, the police officers went to high school with the people that they're arresting. And it's generally a polite situation where they're arresting the buddy they sat next to in study hall or their cousin. And that's the way it is once you get away from the cities, isn't it, Sam?
Oh, I think you're exactly right, John. I think there's a gradient. I've always surveyed the SWAT officers that have been in my training classes, and the large city agencies typically I would estimate 80% of those guys say, sure, I'll participate in gun confiscation. But as you move away from the large urban areas and into the county and into the away from the suburbs into the more of the country and smaller towns, about 80% of the officers say, I would never participate in gun confiscation. It's actually the opposite. And, you know, here in Laclede County where I live and in Lebanon, the police officers have said very clearly, we will not participate in any gun confiscation because they know it will be the end of their department. It's just not something that's going to happen here.
No. You can't confiscate the guns of the people you went to high school with, the people you go to church with, the people that you stand next to in the shopping center and the supermarket. That simply doesn't work. But Sam, here's how they're going to do it. I believe there's going to be planned civil disorder in California using MS-13 and Muslims, possibly others, to get the civil disorder so bad that the Governor Moonbeam calls in the United Nations to help restore order. Foreign troops will not have any qualms whatsoever about confiscating the guns from Americans, will they, Sam?
Well, not if they're brought in to do that. They're going to follow orders. And, you know, there's probably 30 to 40% of our U.S. military that will follow orders, but I guarantee you 60% of them will not be involved in that and will refuse those orders because they're illegal and unconstitutional. But I want to make this point, John. Every American needs to know the math behind gun confiscation. The federal government has less than 1.5 million people available to do any type of gun confiscation. We have 21 million veterans in the United States of America, 18 million of which are extremely well armed. And in addition to that, we have 77 million gun owners in the United States of America. They cannot win a gun confiscation fight. The only way they can succeed in disarming America is if Americans willingly, peacefully turn in their guns, and that is a profound mistake based on recent history.
It is. Absolutely it is. And the powers that be, they know what you're talking about. There's no secret to them. The people that are really behind gun confiscation at the highest levels, people like George Soros and the people that work with George Soros. And of course they know this. That's why, in my opinion, they would bring in an outside force such as the United Nations. Typically, these United Nations soldiers come from places like Bangladesh and Pakistan, places like that where they're dead, dirt poor, desperate, typically semi-illiterate, frequently Muslims, and they will follow orders to the best of their ability, won't they, Sam?
They will, but it won't last for long, because the problem with gun confiscation in the United States is the people behind it have no place to live once they start. And the federal government is a paper tiger. They absolutely have to have the support of local law enforcement and the National Guard and military, or they cannot succeed, and they'll never get that support.
That's very true. That's very true. I absolutely agree. There's a lot of things going on at the national level. I believe the Mueller investigation is about to come to a screeching halt. As you know, Sam, I've been involved in a very high level, complex trial preparation investigation since 1972, and I've never had the resources that Mueller did. The full resources of the entire FBI, including their forensics people, the power of subpoena to subpoena anybody he wants to, people and documents. If I had those resources at my disposal, Sam, I would have had the damning evidence within 30 to 90 days. Of course I would have. So the fact that he doesn't have it after more than a year tells me there's nothing to be found. What do you think?
Well, the only collusion to interfere with the elections in the United States was committed by the Hillary Clinton, Bill Clinton, the Hillary Foundation, the FBI, the Department of Justice officials. There's been over 12 officials either removed from their job or fired based on their involvement in this dirty scheme to manipulate the presidential election. And I believe once the Office of Inspector General's report comes out, you're going to see more heads than a dozen fall. There's going to be quite a bloodletting of the corruption in the Department of Justice, and certainly it's already occurred within the FBI.
It has. Are you aware of a time frame for that IG report to be released?
Well, I know that the Office of Professional Responsibility, which is sort of the internal affairs function of the FBI, has already received the report. We know that the report's been written and it's been passed to, like, the head of the Judiciary Committee of the Senate. It's been passed to the Office of Professional Responsibility, and it's already done. The timing of the release to the public is unknown at this point.
Well, given the recent history of these kinds of reports, let's see, this is the 20th of March. April Fool's Day would be a good day to release it, wouldn't it?
That would be an epic irony level there.
Well, we can we can prognosticate and speculate, but that's all it is. I would say if it goes more than 4 weeks without being released, I'd be shocked, wouldn't you?
I would have to say that it will have to be released just from the pressure, public pressure, and pressure from the House and the Senate within the next 2 to 4 weeks. I think you're probably right there.
So the next question is, would it be released in full text, or would it be redactions?
I don't see any reason for redactions unless there's sources or methods being revealed, and I don't see how an OIG report on corruption, we want to know the sources and methods of the corruption. What we don't want to release is any sources or methods that compromise the security of the United States.
Obviously.
I think it's important to point out that releasing sources and methods of criminals hiding behind a badge is actually enhancing the security of the United States. That's a good thing.
Absolutely. One of the survivors of the Benghazi attack, he went public with some things, and I don't have the article here in front of me, but there's a photograph of the survivor of Benghazi on the left-hand side of the article, and this recently fired FBI agent McCabe on the right side. And you can tell the former Ranger Benghazi survivor is a warrior just by looking at him, and that the former FBI agent recently fired looks like he would have been, to set the profile, the president of the student council who would turn in his buddy smoking in the restroom. You know the profile. You know the profile.
Yes.
And I wasn't aware of this, Sam, but the survivors of Benghazi were actually under investigation by the FBI for allegedly using too much force to defend themselves.
Yes, isn't that hysterical? Well, that's the Obama administration in action right there.
It is. I think. Do I hear music? We got a break. There it is. We got a break. We'll be right back. Okay, I'm back. Okay. We had some technical difficulties there. If you plan on being in Dallas this coming weekend, I will be the keynote speaker at the Hear the Watchman conference. If you want a $20 discount, go to my website, thelibertyman.com, to get the discount code. Visiting with Sam Andrews, the proprietor of the name of your business, Sam?
Tier 1 Weapon Systems, and I'm also located now at the Freedom Center in Lebanon, Missouri.
Tier 1 Weapon Systems, the Freedom Center, and the telephone number at the range is area code 417-718-2597. Did I get that right?
That's correct.
Okay. Sam, I'm one of your instructors down there at the Freedom Center, and I teach concealed carry training. What kind of training can a person expect to get down there at the Freedom Center?
Well, we can train you in home security. We can train you in precision long-range rifle out to 1,000 yards. We can train you in CQB training with an AR-15 or an M16 or an M4. We can train you in how to use night vision, how to use thermal vision. We can train you in how to shoot off rappel if you want to learn how to shoot and operate in the vertical world. We've got quite a facility developed down here, and it allows us to do a whole bunch of training. We can train law enforcement in how to stop trucks out of a helicopter with 50 BMG. We have the helicopters and the big guns. So we've got a lot of different things we can do here, and if you're interested in becoming more proficient with any type of rifle or pistol, you're welcome to sign up for a class and work on your skills.
Outstanding. Give us some of a quick summary of the bios of some of your instructors, just 2 or 3, just to give people an idea of the quality of the instructors.
Well, we've got a pretty good concealed carry instructor named John Moore. He's pretty experienced. We've got a Navy SEAL named Mark Karachi, who's one of the most decorated snipers in Navy history, if not the most. He actually, in the real world, makes Chris Kyle's count look small as far as confirmed. We've got various Marines. We've got Jerome Clipfel, who ran SWAT, was a Navy operator, and a SWAT commander for 22 years. So we've got quite a different collection of guys. We can work on a lot of different types of things.
Sam, a week ago Saturday, I had dinner with a friend of mine. I was a high school classmate. He got to Vietnam as a Navy SEAL at age 17 and left Vietnam at age 21, most of that time being spent in the Mekong Delta where I was. At one point, I just learned this past week ago Saturday, he, along with Carlos Hathcock, had a price on his head set by the NVA and the Viet Cong. I was not aware of that previously. But these Navy SEAL snipers are the real deal, aren't they?
They really are. And, I wouldn't say that the average Navy SEAL sniper is a better marksman than the average Army sniper. If you're SOTA qualified in the Army, you've pretty much got your act together from a marksmanship standpoint. But what makes the SEAL so interesting from a sniping standpoint is the flexibility on infill and exfil. And they've got some amazing skills in that regard, and it makes them a little more useful in difficult situations, particularly water.
The Viet Cong had a nickname down the Mekong Delta where the Navy SEALs were operating. Do you happen to know what that is offhand?
I don't remember. I heard it. I actually read it in a book about 20 years ago, and I can't remember.
The Viet Cong called the Navy SEAls operating the Delta. Here's the quote: "Devils with green faces."
Well, I'll tell you one of my funniest Navy SEAL stories. Back in the Black Hawk Down scenario.
Hold that.
Or you want me to save it for the break?
Let's save it for after the break. Yeah. Stay tuned. We'll be right back. Call number 800-313-9443.
You are tuned in to the Republic Broadcasting Network Visit our website by going to republicbroadcasting.org.
Ladies and gentlemen, J.R. Moore here. We're continuing our energy cleaner promotion, which began August of 2016. In this promotion, you get to buy an energy cleaner, $70 off retail, and a mattress pad, 10% off retail. $200 of the purchase price of the energy cleaner goes to Republic Broadcasting. This is a great way to help get energy cleaners out to people who need them and have some financial issues to deal with. And, of course, a great way to support Republic Broadcasting. Here's what you do. Send in a postcard. My address is John Moore, P.O. Box 201, Davidsville, Missouri. We pick a postcard every 2 weeks. If your postcard is drawn, you get the chance to buy the energy cleaner, $70 off retail, and 10% off the mattress pads. Put your name and your address, your telephone number, and your email address on the postcard, and we wish you the best of luck. Thank you. All right, we are back, ladies and gentlemen. We're back. J.R. Moore here on Tuesday, the 20th of March. My website is thelibertyman.com. That's thelibertyman.com. We have our latest image just posted earlier in the last few days of a continent with new coastlines. It's our project. The list continues to grow. I believe we'll probably more than double the list of TV shows and movies showing images of continents with new coastlines. The most recent one, let's scroll down here to this thing. Where is it? There it is. The title of the film is The Northlander, released in 2016. If you find an image of a continent with new coastlines, a TV show or a movie, get that screen capture to me. You get your choice of any of my 5 DVDs as a thank you. Let's move forward with that project. Also, of course, on my website, you'll find energy cleaners. If you go to bed with minor aches and pains from rappelling down a tower at Sam's facility or crawling through the brush while sneaking up on your target at Sam's facility, you go to sleep with that energy cleaner, you'll wake up refreshed and pain-free, ready to hit it again. The energy cleaner is only $285, shipping included, American zip codes. We'll be posting some images taken by one of my neighbors of his seedlings growing twice as fast compared to the control group that didn't get the energy cleaner signal. It's a fun project that we're doing here in my neighborhood. The energy cleaner is $285, shipping included, and yes, I do offer a 90-day money-back guarantee. So check out the energy cleaner and the mattress pads that go with it. Everything's right there at my website at thelibertyman.com, where I do take PayPal, MasterCard, Visa, and I have a toll-free auto line 24 hours a day. Here it is, 800-592-9543. I say again, 800-592-9543. Visiting with Sam Andrews. The number at the range where he is doing all this great training is area code 417-718-2597. Okay, you've got your favorite Navy SEAL story. Let's hear it, Sam.
Well, in Vietnam, it's widely accepted in DOD that the SEALs operating there had a kill ratio of 12-1. In other words, they kill 12 enemy for any one SEAL that was lost in battle. But I can tell you in Mogadishu, in the Black Hawk Down scenario, that when they captured our pilot, Michael Durant, we sent Dev Group there. And over the next couple of evenings, these guys killed so many of Adid's men, I mean in the thousands, that Adid ran a messenger to the Air Force base where the Army installation was. And they brought a letter from Adid to the general. And the letter read, and Karachi has a picture of this, it's fantastic. It says, "We will agree to negotiate the release of your pilot, Michael Durant. But first, the men in black must leave."
That was it, huh?
That was the letter from Adid to, I think it was a General Garrison who was in charge, and I think that's very indicative of the asymmetric force that a small group can bring to a battle when they're trained that well.
And have lots of ammunition.
Well, Karachi told me he changed barrels 4 times in one night. What does that tell you?
On what, his M60?
I'm not sure what he was shooting, but he melted 3 barrels down, had to go to a 4th one on the first night.
Amazing. Absolutely amazing. And what was the outcome with that scenario with the Durant and so forth?
Well, we actually got Michael back. His partner was killed in the original conflict, but we got him back just a few days later.
A friend of mine was there in Mogadishu, another Special Forces trooper, and I got a follow-up story. For anybody who's seen the film, the title of the film is Black Hawk Down. There's a scene in there which most people will remember when the Americans got the order to saddle up and go to the rescue. There was a Somali boy, youngster, on a hill overlooking the American air base. And in the movie, the boy has a cell phone, and when the helicopters are passing overhead, he makes a phone call to his chain of command there to let them know the Americans are on the way. That's what happened in the movie. But my buddy told me what happened in real life. In real life, the hangars where the Americans were, where they had their cots set up and their feeding, or their mess facilities and so forth, the boy could see right down into the hangars. And when the men all stopped what they were doing and started putting on their boots and their gear, that's when he made the phone call, which gave another 15 minutes warning. Instead of calling when the helicopters were passing overhead, he called when the guys started getting geared up, which gave them an extra 15 minutes lead time. Sam, that's what happened.
Yeah, and that's actually that your buddy's right, because they actually had native Somalis there cleaning the base and cleaning the hangars. And the Adid's men got immediate intel based on the locals that were actually on base doing cleaning and other tasks.
It seems like one of the mistakes we make, and whenever we go to one of these third world countries, is we make the assumption that these people can speak English, that they're on our side. We did it in Vietnam, and we've done it almost every place we've gone, Sam.
Yeah, that's a fundamental mistake. There's nothing about assumptions that enhance security, that's for sure.
Not at all. One Special Forces training operation I went on, we were out in a remote area of North Carolina in the National Forest, Nottahala National Forest. All 600 of we were split into 2 teams. Most of us were with the aggressors, and the defense unit was stationed about 10 or 12 miles away. Regardless, we get there and we got our camp set up, and we got a front gate where there's security. And the second day we're there, these 2 very attractive young women, 19, 20 years old, they show up wearing Daisy Duke shorts and very skimpy tops, driving a CJ Jeep with a tub full of ice and soft drinks and all kinds of snacks to sell to the troops. So the guys, Green Berets, obviously, they're going to go out to the gate and meet the girls and buy Coca-Colas and the Twinkies and whatever cookies that they had, and talk to these girls and brag about being Green Berets. So I'm in the intelligence section. I'm sending these guys out to blow up bridges and dams and hydroelectric plants and so forth. And our guys keep getting captured and getting compromised. And it was only after we were finished that we found out the girls were working for the opposition, and they were actually spies. So that was good. That was a good heads up there also. Sam, I don't know if you're aware of it, but there's another explosion down in Texas, this time in Austin, Texas, at the FedEx center there. Very close to where our network is coming from. Round Rock, Texas is basically a suburb of Austin, Texas. We're looking at a bomb going off every 2 or 3 days, it seems like, in that part of the world down there. A lot of speculation, but no public release of who might be responsible for this or what their goal is, other than they're just plain crazy. Do you have any thoughts on that, Sam?
Well, I know this. I know that the package that exploded was shipped from an Austin location to an Austin location, and we know that the package exploded when it dropped from a higher conveyor down to a lower conveyor. I think that you're going to see in the next few months before the run-up to this November election, you're going to see a number of school shootings, a number of false flags, a number of incidents that try to convince the American people that we need the FBI and the NSA and all of their tools and spying to keep us safe. You're going to see a whole host, a rash of events that try and convince the American people that we need these people operating outside of our Constitution so that we can be protected and have safety. And I sure hope the American people aren't silly enough to buy this garbage.
Well, it's something I've already seen this morning, the Maryland high school shooting. Federal officials have already been called in, and I would assume the FBI. I'm not sure how they would have jurisdiction to respond to a school shooting at a high school in Maryland. Where would that jurisdiction come from?
Well, normally the person that has jurisdiction is the head law enforcement officer of the county. And so you look at this stuff and then you realize, well, wow, the ATF's already been called to Maryland. The FBI's already been called. You know, there's mutual aid agreements signed between certain law enforcement agencies that are local, certain county police departments, certain city police departments, with the FBI and the ATF. And I would implore sheriffs, police chiefs, do not sign these mutual aid agreements with the feds. This is a profound mistake.
Well, it is, and something I've also seen that these task force that they develop, these drug introduction task force, they end up siphoning off some of the best and brightest from various sheriff's departments and police departments that are already short-handed with financial incentives, of course, to go along with it. So it ends up making our local law enforcement short-handed while at the same time participating in the never-ending war on drugs, which I believe is about a half a century old now, and will go on another half century if they keep doing what they're doing, won't it, Sam?
Absolutely. And you know, in other countries, being a policeman is a 4-year educational process. It's like getting a 4-year degree in college. In America, you can get your 600 or 800 hours in, depending on what state you're a part of, get your Class 1 commission, and become a policeman in less than a year. We really, in America, have to take a hard look at how we train policemen and how much resource we give them, because right now we're not doing right by the American people.
Well, I agree with what you're saying. On one hand, on the other, when I got in the system in 1973, I literally worked with police officers who were illiterate, literally. So while we're not where I would like to see us be either, it's a long way from handing a badge to a guy and swearing him in who can't even read and write the English language, Sam.
Well, that's what I think. We're saying the same thing. We need more education. We need higher standards. We need more training. And, you know, unfortunately, in most states, that 800 hours of training includes no training on how to conduct policing and not violate the Bill of Rights. It often includes at least one class in how to conduct policing and circumvent the Constitution.
Well, that's unfortunate and sad, but if that's the way it is, that's the way it is, and that certainly needs to change. You made a statement to me a number of months ago, Sam, that I remember it, how, if I can paraphrase, how the government takes our rights away from us and then sells them back to us one at a time.
That's exactly what they do. It's called licensing and taxes. Everyone thinks, oh, I pay my taxes, and I'm sure when you add up what you pay in sales tax and state income tax and utility taxes on your phone and internet and other things, you realize those are taxes but your car license is a tax too. Your business license is a tax too. The government taxes everything, and it really is a corruption of the Constitution when the government takes something that is a natural right, takes it away from you, and then leases it back to you in the form of a license.
Absolutely. Well, this is a problem pretty much worldwide. I used to wonder when I was in Vietnam why all these steel-reinforced concrete buildings had the exposed rebar sticking out. It was only years later I found out that it was because of taxation. The buildings weren't considered finished if the rebar was still sticking out from the structure, and they got a lower tax rate. And that happens all over the world, doesn't it?
Absolutely does. There's many people in rural Missouri that declare their properties farm or agricultural to lower the real estate tax that's applied to them every year.
Well, if it works, God bless them, they should do so. Sam, getting back to the Second Amendment, the biggest turnover in Congress ever from Democratic seats becoming Republican seats was the November 1994 elections, which is at the same time you and I were getting to know each other. There are still people in Congress who remember that, and they probably don't want to go down that road again, do they?
Well, it's amazing that when we have a Republican president like Ronald Reagan, who banned more rifles than all other presidents in history, and then the Democrats try gun control, and then it doesn't work for them from an electoral standpoint. They pay a huge price for that. And now we have a Republican governor in the state of Florida signing on to incremental gun control, and their Senator Marco Rubio applauding them. I mean, it's it's disgusting that these elites, and that's what we're really dealing with. See, people need to understand this. It's not a Republican, Democrat, conservative, liberal thing. It's elites versus the citizens. And what's going on right now is an elite person doesn't understand why a 19-year-old may need a gun. And the reason is, in Missouri, in Kansas, in Arkansas, in Oklahoma, in Texas, there's hundreds of thousands of young men who get a technical degree in high school and go to work at the age of 18. They have a wife and a 3-month-old baby and a small apartment at the age of 19. And these men who didn't go to graduate school and had to get a job before they were 26-year-old, unlike the elite, these men absolutely have an unalienable right to have a firearm to protect their wife and their newborn baby with. And so these laws that prevent you from having a gun till you're 21, they're disgusting, they're repugnant, and they ignore the facts of life in the middle of the United States of America.
Well, I couldn't say it better myself, Sam, and that's certainly the way it is. I know the local newspaper publishes photographs of the 8- and 9-year-old boys and girls who shoot their first deer during the youth, what they call the youth season. I'm sure that many anti-gun liberals in the cities are just absolutely shocked and disturbed that 8- or 9-year-old boys and girls would shoot a high-caliber rifle at a deer at that age. Here's our last break this hour. Stay tuned. We'll be right back. We are back, ladies and gentlemen. We're back. J.R. Moore here on Tuesday, the 20th of March, visiting with Sam Andrews, proprietor of the Freedom Center, a great place to get your training. If you want training related to the use of rifles, shotguns, pistols, tactical training, give the range a call. The number down at the range is 417-718-2597. Sam, it's always good to visit with you. It's been too long since you've been on with me. I'd like to have you on once a week if you're going to make yourself available.
Well, that would be fine.
Okay. All right. Well, that's a done deal. We'll do that. And as we move forward with these shows, I'm sure there's going to be people with questions about training. Do you have a tower for rappelling? If you do, how tall is the tower?
Well, the big tower that we're building now is going to be 160 feet tall.
Whoa, baby.
And that allows us to teach inclination angle shooting in our sniper courses, where you can actually not just teach the theory, but actually teach it on a practical sense. You know, a lot of people don't believe that when you shoot downhill, your bullets hit high. When you shoot uphill, your bullets hit high. And so it's important to demonstrate that, and so that people have confidence in what they're doing.
Outstanding. Well, I'm looking forward to getting on that tower myself. I've never rappelled from that high. I think the highest I've ever rappelled from maybe 100 feet or so. That sounds like a lot of fun.
Oh, I've done some 600-foot rappels out west into canyons and stuff, and it is exhilarating. We don't shoot weapons when we do those long rappels. It's a little bit different technical path. But here at the Freedom Center, the main mission is to teach the skills to communities, law enforcement, individuals, the skills that actually preserve freedom here in the United States of America. That's what we're here for.
Okay. Well, I sometimes mention it. It's really humiliating when you're with a bunch of Green Berets to get yourself turned upside down when you're rappelling, and have to have your buddies rescue you. It's never happened to me, thank goodness. I always keep my legs spread far enough apart that I didn't get upside down.
Well, you know, we have harnesses, John. We can teach you to go upside down all day long.
Well, I've done some Australian rappel. It's a different experience to see that ground rushing towards you as you're facing it. Truly different. I don't want to be cut off by the music. Sam, enjoy the rest of the day. We'll be talking privately soon. I appreciate it, sir.
John, thank you. Have a great week.
Okay, will do. Sam Andrews, what a guy. And we'll have a break coming up here shortly. We'll have Leon Green, and we'll be talking about a lot of different things with Leon, as we typically do. Sam's the real deal. He is the real deal. And like I say, it surprised me to find out when he was on last year that he was one of the guys shooting down the Russian helicopters with the Stinger missiles. And we always thought it was the jihadists doing that. But it makes perfect sense that Americans would be up there doing it if they had the opportunity to do so. So, here's our break. Stay tuned. We'll be right back. You hear me now? All right, we're back. More here, second hour on Tuesday, the 20th of March. Breaking news, there's been another school shooting this morning, this time in Maryland. A high school, the name of the high school is Great Mills High School in the city of, or town of Great Mills, Maryland, about 70 miles from Washington, D.C. Unknown number of injuries, or how serious the injuries are at this point in time. Prepper tip of the day, I want to encourage all of you to get your night vision now. It's easy to get it now. Point, click, click, and you get it delivered to your door probably in about 3 days. The best place I've found to get night vision is at Optics Planet. The website's opticsplanet.com. What do you get? Well, you get the most you can the most expensive night vision you can afford. That's basically it. If you can only buy one piece of night vision, you want a weapon sight. We have patiently in the green room, my friend Leon Green. Leon is a gentleman who's taken the time, made the effort to become quite knowledgeable of all the wonderful ways that incorporating doTERRA essential oils into your daily life can help you. Good morning, Leon.
Good morning, John. I listened to the latter part of your call with Jen, and it was quite interesting. I'm planning some of his precision class. I'm out here doing some adventure training again, and last night I walked around the desert with my Bridge NVG 14s and had a bump helmet on, and it's quite a learning curve. And I heard the military uses soccer balls. You know, they play football with the guys to improve their night vision depth perception.
Well, that would be a good way to do it, and probably have minimal chance of injury or damage to the equipment, either one. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. It does. Now, there's basically two ways people can look at the use of night vision when it comes to just walking around or playing soccer. One is to have the binocular night vision, where you have both eyes covered with a night vision optic, and you have binocular vision with the night vision itself. The other is to have only the strong eye, the dominant eye covered, and the other eye uncovered with normal vision. Have you had a chance to use both, Leon? And what do you think about the two different methods?
I haven't actually. I have some tracers, and so I have not actually done any night engagements. I was scheduled for one last year, and I did not. I wasn't able to complete it. So that's when I heard Sam is doing it. I'm excited because I'm definitely going to make it a point to schedule it as soon as possible.
Okay, well, Sam's the real deal, and as you know, I'm one of the instructors down there myself.
Yeah,
so, it'll be some serious training, and you'll certainly have a lot of fun and get a lot out of it. We talk about a lot of things when we spend our hour together here every week, Leon. Occasionally, we actually do get to the actual topic, which is doTERRA essential oils. Which that's fine, in between the talking about training and do's and a halves and so forth. But doTERRA's always got new oils coming out. Are you aware of any new oils about to be released?
I just talked to some people who went to the Florida convention, and they said there aren't any, but they're as always they're always doing R&D, but they're also sworn to secrecy. So unlike the ladies with the Daisy Dukes, they try to maintain some OPSEC.
Well, we thought we were maintaining operational security. But an attractive 19-year-old woman in Daisy Duke shorts will get a handsome young man to loosen his tongue, I guess you could say. Very effective. Very effective. And whatever, as the old saying goes, whatever works. Here's what we're talking about, ladies and gentlemen, besides all the fun stuff. We're talking about a way to have more health, better health, I should say, more energy to do the things that you want to do. It may be routine things like the career that you've chosen for yourself, interacting with your family, maybe your church, or maybe more exciting things like rappelling off the 160-foot tower at Sam's facility that he's building right now. Whatever those goals may be, the doTERRA essential oils will help you achieve those goals. And there's a simple way to get started. Here's what you do. First of all, send me an email. My email address is right there at my website, thelibertyman.com. That email address is thelibertyman@aol.com. By return email, I will send you my doTERRA website link. That's pretty simple, number one. Number two, get yourself 2 copies of the same book, the 5th edition and the 9th edition of the book with the following simple title, Modern Essentials. You need both. If you can only get one, if you can only get one book of the 2, which would you suggest, Leon?
The 5th edition, because that one has the information that was available before the FDA said, hey, we don't like the competition, so let's get rid of it. So the add-ons, the information is online about the new ones. So the newest one is Copaiba, Blue Tansy. Those are all available online as well. So if you know the chemical constituent, or the compound. So we're talking about things like linalool, aldehydes, ketones, whatever family it's in. Once you know that, then okay, this will help with respiratory, or this will help with the digestive system. So I'd say 5 is the best, but either way it is. If you had a choice, I'd go with 5th first, but it's getting more and more rare because everybody else is scarfing it up because they realize that's the last root of the 5th. And so the in people who get the ninth, they're not going to be disserviced. It's just going to be an extra, 10% more work to figure out, okay, this is what it can be used for.
Absolutely. Well, there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. The way to get started is to begin with the 5th edition of Modern Essentials, and then follow up as soon as you can by getting the 9th edition. In addition, if you need more help and want a private consultation, Leon has made himself available. And what's that office telephone number, Leon?
In Colorado, my number is 303-495-2188.
303-495-2188. That's Leon's office telephone, Mountain Time. Call his office, make that appointment for that private consultation. I fully recognize, Leon, that people don't want to discuss their private health concerns in front of thousands of people on the radio. That's certainly understandable and expected, but you don't need to do that. You can have a private consultation with Leon, and he will help you achieve your goal. Leon, I'm visiting right now with my 21-year-old grandson, the college football player. He just got in yesterday. We haven't had a chance to get updated on how he's making use of the doTERRA products, including Deep Blue and Peppermint and probably others. But he's really embarked on a lot more serious training program when it comes to nutrition. If it could even be more serious, it has become so. And the doTERRA oils will help him achieve his goal of becoming a high-end, high-performing athlete. There's something for everybody. It doesn't matter if you're a 96-year-old great-grandmother or a 21-year-old college athlete or anybody in between. There's something for everybody with doTERRA, isn't there, Leon?
Absolutely. You can even benefit babies still in the womb because the oils pass through the skin or sublingually, and they get in the bloodstream. So they're able to benefit the mother and the baby likewise. And so, in essence, I always say anybody with a heartbeat can benefit from the oil. So, and even people who are in terminal care, they're able to benefit because of quality of life. They can be more relaxed, less apprehensive, less sensitive. And so all of these benefits can apply with the oils. And so they're very simple. The main 3 ways are inhalation, breathing, on the skin, topically, or ingestion. So you can drink, and this is specific here with doTERRA. Many people say, well, I read in this book, you're not supposed to do that. And that's because the other companies, the vast majority of them, do not test the oils. So when you concentrate a natural product 50 to 70 times, any of the environmental toxins that are in the air or in the water are now concentrated. So whether it's glyphosate from farmer spraying and agricultural work, or industrial, like benzene, toluene, and all the other 80,000 chemicals in America alone, those chemicals are now concentrated. So the old blanket statement of saying do not ingest oils is because of the companies or the industry's apathy of saying, okay, we're going to test each and every batch for these toxins. And so with doTERRA, they have over 15 different tests, and they test each and every batch, and they also have outside agency tested as well. So to verify that there is no bias, unlike the companies that typically do it. If you try to have an FDA check something, there's already a conflict of interest because they're involved in the payment. So with doTERRA, our attitude is it has to be pure enough, or not has to be, it has to be 100% certified pure therapeutic, which means that you can consume it in all vectors, throat, skin, and food.
Well, that should give people peace of mind, knowing that this level of purity is what they get with doTERRA. I mentioned before, but I need to keep mentioning because this is radio, we always have new listeners. I work with several doctors, both medical doctors as well as chiropractors, who've incorporated essential oils into their practice. They did their own independent homework, their own independent research, and they all reached the same conclusion that the doTERRA essential oils were the ones they wanted to use for themselves, their families, and their patients. That's a very high recommendation, isn't it, Leon?
Absolutely, because these doctors know the different systems impact and also how natural components can greatly improve humans. So whether it's breathing and like linalool and lavender, in the lavender oil, it's such a sedative that people use it for sleep. They use it pre-surgery. There's a Harvard doctor out of Utah, Dr. Paul Winterton, and he uses the oils to prevent infection like MRSA. He does it pre and post-op. So if you're going to go and cut up someone's leg because of arthritic pain or ACL and MCL injuries, he will apply the oils instead of using the chemicals that can cause side effects. And he uses it after, so to prevent infection like MRSA and C. diff and all the others. So this doctor, we have over 300 hospitals nationwide that use essential oils, and because they are so effective, these doctors are realizing it nationwide and worldwide, for that matter.
Well, doctors are trained in the scientific method, and they may incorporate the scientific method into what they do in their practice. And Vanderbilt University Hospital, of course, is one of the leading hospitals that have been making use of doTERRA oils now for a number of years, haven't they?
Yeah, absolutely. I believe it's over 11 years now. And so they used it in the ER. Their first trial was a 6-month trial in the emergency room because the stress of the staff was so high. Because it is a level 1 trauma center, when people get injured anywhere in that sector of the United States, they would fly these emergencies in. So many times the staff, the vast majority of the staff, would have to interact with the victims' families and relatives nationwide or worldwide, because they would be calling from overseas saying, "My grandma's in the hospital, I need to talk to her now," and they would get the brunt of the population saying, "I want to see my family now," and they'd be quite rude and very offensive, and so they had to de-escalate these emotions. So they would use the oils, and they found out that just breathing citrus oils and the oils that were in that test, which was lemon, lime, citrus bliss, and wild orange, they found out it reduced work-related stress by 90%, and in that study they also tested for work-related frustration, and that dropped 95%. And those studies are available. And in talking about scientific method and studies, PubMed is a compilation website, pubmed.gov, in which there's over 40,000 studies on essential oils. But more importantly, for the average layperson, you can go in there and find any chemical drug that you want and find out the information on those studies. So there's millions of studies from Johns Hopkins and Vanderbilt and all on typical pharmaceutical drugs. But what I like about it is same efficacy and the same depth of knowledge is available on PubMed for essential oils. And because there's over 40,000 studies and they're growing monthly, the average doctor can go in there and find out about the application of one oil to something as serious as influenza virus or MRSA, C. difficile, and you can find this information within 2 clicks. And that's how effective the oils are, and how the doctor's not going to accept it.
Well, Leon, since you and I began these discussions, I've started using PubMed myself for various research projects. It's quick, it's easy, and it's the real deal. This is where the doctors and the scientists go to get their information, isn't it?
Absolutely. And I really, when I talk to doctors and I ask them about it, they're like, "Yes, I go there daily." So it is a no-brainer. They can have all the pubs, or they can have all the books, but to have the entire world's library at your fingertips is the goal of the internet. And so when you can access that specific information and you research it, you can find it within minutes exactly what you need. So yes, I'm glad to see that you're using PubMed too.
Right. Well, there's a lot of people who are misinformed. There's a segment of our population who who inappropriately and wrongly say that if they want to discredit something, they will say, "Oh, did you get that from the internet?" As if that's an immediate way to discredit something, isn't it?
Yes, sir. Absolutely.
No, that's not the case with PubMed. This is the real deal, not somebody's make-believe fantasy. Here's our break. The call number is 800-313-9443. We'll be right back. Ladies and gentlemen, J.R. Moore here. It's taken 3 years before I could offer the inter-shelter domes for sale. During those 3 years, several different governments and militaries were taking all their production. The inter-shelter dome homes may be just what you've been looking for to provide affordable, energy-efficient, permanent, and attractive housing. These dome homes are prefabricated units that can be assembled in a few hours by 2 men with a ladder and simple hand tools. Check out the photos of these dome homes built in the Arctic, on tropical beaches, in suburban areas, and in forests. All the details, many photographs, and the pricing of the dome homes are listed on the left-hand side of my homepage at thelibertyman.com. I think you'll find these homes are not only attractive, but they're energy efficient, and a bonus. You can disassemble them and reassemble them as many times as you feel you need to. Pretty great, huh? Something that's very, very unique. Check them out at my website at thelibertyman.com. Thank you. We are back, ladies and gentlemen. We're back. J.R. Moore here on Tuesday, the 20th of March. We're going to update the school shooting in Maryland at Great Mills High School, Great Mills, Maryland. We've got 2 students wounded, a female student, a male student wounded. The shooter was also a student, a male student, who exchanged gunfire with the school resource officer and was wounded himself. We don't have any word on the condition of either of any of the 3 students up there in Great Mills, and the story will continue, of course, through the day. If you plan on being in Dallas this coming weekend, I'll be there. I will be the keynote speaker at the Hear the Watchman conference. If you want a $20 discount, go to my website to get the discount code. If you can't be there in person, there's a 20% discount for the live streaming. Everything's right there at that banner at my website at thelibertyman.com. We're visiting with Leon Green, the gentleman who is helping us all to learn the many ways, and there are many ways, the many ways that incorporating doTERRA essential oils into your daily life can help you have the fun, full, happy, healthy, productive life that we all want. I want to emphasize, Leon, that the doTERRA essential oils are for daily life, not just for chronic conditions, right?
Absolutely. Before I got on the call, every morning I start off with 4 oils, and then I add peppermint when I'm doing more active things. But I do the On Guard for the Immunity Blend, which is a doTERRA specific, along with Balance, which is more like a stabilizer. If you are high strung in the morning, whether you don't have your coffee or you start off very sluggish or you're high strung, the reason why they have the name Balance is because it will definitely keep you static, and so that's one. And then the other 2 are lemon for cleansing, detoxification, and then frankincense, because that's overall. If you're ever clueless about what to use, frankincense has over 650 known components, and because of that, it addresses things as simple as mild depression and arthritis, systemic arthritis throughout your body, anti-inflammatory. There's so many benefits from those 4. And so that's what Dr. Hill, he's a chief medical officer, recommends everybody in the entire world uses daily, those 4. And then I use lavender at night to go to sleep, and I use lemon, those same 4 at night when I go to sleep as well. And lemon to stay asleep. It works very well in that regard. And then in the daytime, peppermint. But, we have over 80-plus oils. Those other ones I use, I may need for something like when I went skiing in Austria for 3 days. My knees started getting, or at least my left knee started getting kind of stiff. So I use geranium, which helps with swelling, and more frankincense and deep blue for pain. And so those can be used daily, and I use them daily. I don't use all 88 in the day, but I may use all 88 over a period of 6 months. So what happens is you can use them for breakfast, lunch, and dinner, and every time in between.
Right. Well, I make use of the oils myself, and how do you these 4 oils in the morning: On Guard, Balance, Lemon, and Frankincense? How do you get them into your body?
Oh, I do pretty much all of them sublingually, and with the exception of Balance, and it Balance has like 15 different oils in there, so it tastes kind of unique. But many times I use it as a cologne, or I put it on my skin and hold my hands together for approximately 30 seconds, and then then I'm done. So under the tongue for 30 seconds a minute. I don't talk, I don't swallow. And then you have the maximum amount of absorption through the blood vessels under the tongue.
Right. Well, that's something that we all learn as children, and almost every mom knows, is that the sublingual method will put whatever you put under the tongue into the bloodstream pretty much instantly, won't it?
Absolutely. It's the fastest way to get anything into the bloodstream, short of an injection or IV. So that is a very quick way, and that's the way I use most of the oils that way.
Absolutely. Well, we got a question or comment for Leon. Give us a call at 800-313-9443. These oils are highly, highly concentrated. When it says 1 drop, they mean 1 drop, don't they, Leon?
Yes, sir. And what's nice about the oils, because they're natural. If you put 2 drops on, it's not a problem with that. You just, use more than necessary. And it's not really based on body mass, because when it gets into your bloodstream, it will go throughout your entire body, and within 30 minutes you're able to, each cell of your body, the trillions of cells, will be impacted positively by the essential oils. So whether it's something like frankincense, because they are bioavailable immediately, the oils are able to go to each cell and able to be able to benefit each one individually. So we can go more into that later.
Hold that thought. We got a break. We'll be right back. Stay tuned.
You are tuned in to the Republic Broadcasting Network. Visit our website by going to republicbroadcasting.org.
Ladies and gentlemen, J.R. Moore here. We're continuing our energy cleaner promotion, which began August of 2016. In this promotion, you get to buy an energy cleaner, $70 off retail, and a mattress pad, 10% off retail. $200 of the purchase price of the energy cleaner goes to Republic Broadcasting. This is a great way to help get energy cleaners out to people who need them and have some financial issues to deal with. And, of course, a great way to support Republic Broadcasting. Here's what you do. Send in a postcard. My address is John Moore, P.O. Box 201, Davidsville, Missouri. We pick a postcard every 2 weeks. If your postcard is drawn, you get the chance to buy the energy cleaner, $70 off retail, and 10% off the mattress pads. Put your name and your address, your telephone number, and your email address on the postcard, and we wish you the best of luck. Thank you. 20th of March. My website is thelibertyman.com. That's thelibertyman.com. We have some interesting free downloads there, things that will help you be better informed, better educated, learn some things you may not learn otherwise, such as, let's say, for example, The Power of Your Subconscious Mind by Dr. Joseph Murphy, a wonderful book, a book that will give you the tools you need to achieve any goal you want to achieve, maybe career-related, relationship-related, health-related, it doesn't matter. This book will help you achieve these goals by giving you very specific instructions. A free download at my website at thelibertyman.com. Something else that will help you, of course, is the energy cleaner. No, it's not the silver bullet. It's a tool in your toolbox to help you go to bed at night and wake up pain-free in the morning after a great night's sleep. That's what it does. I use mine every night. I do. When I make my trip to Dallas, I'll be using the handy travel-size pad to go with my energy cleaner. You can get all the details at my website about the energy cleaner. You can check out the mattress pads. We got twin, full, queen, king, California king, the handy travel size. Everything's right there. Keep in mind, I offer a 90-day money-back guarantee on the energy cleaner. That's from me to you personally, a 90-day money-back guarantee. I do take PayPal, MasterCard, Visa. You can send me a check if you need to. My address is at my website at thelibertyman.com. And, of course, I have a toll-free hour line 24 hours a day, answered by very polite young men and women in St. Louis, Missouri. The toll-free hour line is 800-592-9543. I say again, 800-592-9543. We're visiting with Leon Green. We're talking about doTERRA essential oils, a great way to help you achieve your goals. Also, of being pain-free, with more energy, taking care of all the things that happen to people. This is part of life as things happen. And the doTERRA essential oils will help. If you want to get started, here's what you do. Send me an email. By return email, I will send you my doTERRA website link. That's what I do. And also get yourself a copy of the book, Modern Essentials. You can find both editions, the 5th edition and the 9th edition. You'll be far better off. If you can only get one, get the 5th edition. If you can find the 9th edition, and also, we'll get the 9th edition. It just came out last September. If you want a private consultation, Leon will make himself available. His office telephone number, Mountain Time, is 303-495-2188. Well, Leon, it sounds like you might be headed to Lebanon, Missouri for the Freedom Center.
Yes, sir. I'm going to find out. Reach out to Sam and find out when his next ones are coming up, and hopefully he can have a couple back-to-back. Have you heard of On Point Tactical as well? On Point? Kevin Reed? Yes.
Say again?
His name is Kevin Reed, but it's On Point Tactical. Have you heard of him?
It seems like I've heard, but I don't really know much. Tell us about On Point.
No, they have some. There's some scouting and some scout classes. There's 4 different classes. I'm doing all of those in St. George, Utah, in April, and then they also have an escape and evasion. So you're actually bugging out. So you're going to have people looking for you, and you have to acquire techniques and cars and vehicles to get out of town. So they do it in Los Angeles. Denver is going to be June 23rd. So I've already scrapped my schedule for that. So I'm excited about doing that as well. And then in mid-April, I'm also going to go down to the old CIA training center down at the Air Force called Pinal Air Park, and we're going to do more car stuff. This time, I'm going to do shooting out of the car again while moving. So I'm excited about that as well. So yes, that adventure training you talk about, I'm now saying yes, it's called adventure training. I coined it from John Moore.
Well, I can't take credit for it. That's what we called it in Special Forces. I volunteered for the Sears course when I went back in the Army after being out for a decade in the late 70s. I volunteered for the Sears course, and I was training, doing my running, my sit-ups, my push-ups, really getting pumped up. And then they told me they didn't have money to pay for the class, and I was really disappointed.
Sounds about right.
Yeah. But... yeah, that's the way that was. So if you can get that training in the private sector, go for it. That's what I say. Absolutely go for it.
Well, I picked up an A5. You know what A5 Browning is?
No, the 12 gauge semi-automatic shotgun.
Yes, sir. I picked up one of those specifically because I wanted. Looking at its reliability, it's compared to some of the other ones, especially the other used ones. So I got it for $375, and I'm like you even said, you have to trust your equipment implicitly. So I'm learning all the quirks about using that as compared to my 870 that I have 5 of those, and I know exactly how each one of those works. So this is yesterday was my first day using that, and there's a lot of capability there.
Well, that Browning semi-automatic shotgun has been around for about a century.
Yes, sir.
With no major changes that I'm aware of. It's pretty much the way that John Moses Browning designed it initially. And I don't know the exact production date of when the A5 Browning was, but I could find out here momentarily.
Yeah, 1903.
1903, so just more than a century.
Yes,
I was right on that.
Yes, sir.
It has kind of a clunky, awkward look to it on one hand. On the other,
yes,
it works. It works. It's a dependable shotgun. Now, refresh my memory. Is it gas operated or recoil operated?
It's called, the way they have it on their website is called kinetic motion.
Well, that's recoil operated then.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Which does it's a straight blowback would be a more simplistic way. Any straight blowback firearm is going to be more reliable because there's less things to go wrong with it. So that's well, good. You got sounds like you got yourself a nice piece at a decent price there, Leon.
Absolutely. And the only thing I'm gonna trick out, I made tap and drill it. Everybody's like, "Don't mess with it. It's a beautiful piece of wood." And I'm like, I'm a woodworker. I like that, but right now this is a tool for my toolbox, and so it's older than I am. 1959 is the oldest thing I have. I bought intentionally, and so it is very good. And I'll give you the 4-day heads up of the things I'm gonna to tweak on it. But it's phenomenal. I'm just talking about I've already put a side saddle on this so I can strap another 6. And then I got rid of the plug, the safety plug in there, so that added 2 more. So I have 4 instead of 2 in the chamber. But I'm going to go to extended mag and go to 8. So all these things are important to know when you're having tools in your arsenal, whether they're doTERRA or night vision. I'm bringing my bump helmet out today to see how it interacts with my helmet and the buttstock. And so all these things are crucial to know and work on them before you actually have a calamity, than to find out that your generator only likes this type of gas, or the spark plug needs to be changed more frequently than you anticipated. And so all these things. I even picked up 2 stun guns, those for the snake bites and for the spider bites. I picked those up yesterday when I picked up the Tanner. So yes, it's
I need to ask you,
that you
Len,
get out and actually train.
Have you switched over your Toyota truck yet to AMSOIL?
Not yet, but I'm just about to buy a Dodge Ram 2500. Right before I left, I was going to buy that, and the first thing I'm going to do is drain all the fluids and transfer them all to AMSOIL. And before I do that with this truck, that engine I was supposed to swap out, the person couldn't get it together when I was overseas, so I'm going to just buy a separate engine, go to somebody else who's more reliable.
Well, if you're putting a fresh engine in a vehicle, you definitely want to look at the AMSOIL bypass system. My Lincoln Town Car just turned over 373,000 miles using AMSOIL exclusively, and it's if you want your vehicle to last and actually save money, AMSOIL is definitely the way to go. But getting back to the oils, you and I are both very active guys out there doing a lot of things, both career-related and personal-related. And one of the reasons we can do all these things is we use the doTERRA essential oils in our daily life, isn't it, Leon?
Absolutely. I mean, I look at how, I was born in '65, and I look at other people, and they don't smoke as well like I don't. And you see the skin difference, and I see a lot of, you can see the age degradation. And people ask how much younger I am, but what gives me away is my hair is starting to change colors. And if it was with that, I still look very similar to what I looked like when I was 34 years old. So definitely helps with youthful appearance and youthful vigor.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, if you want to join Leon and I in having a vigor and youthful appearance, hey, get yourself doTERRA essential oils. Well, there's a line of related products specifically for women too. Women like to smear all different things on their face, and doTERRA's got those products also, don't they?
Absolutely. One's called Immortel, and it is phenomenal. It has the same recipe that Cleopatra used 3,000 years ago because of how effective it is. And so it uses helichrysum and frankincense and rose and jasmine. And so all those oils are in there in a specific blend by doTERRA, and it's called Immortel. And helichrysum is probably one of the best ones because it helps with nerve regeneration. And so with the face, it is phenomenal. And so I remember seeing I started getting crow's feet about 8 years ago. And I saw 3 women get on stage saying, this is how effective it was. And, I will give up 1 bottle of Starbucks, a week just to have this once a year. And so they do that. And I tried it, and within 3 days, those crow's feet were gone. And my kids were like, Dad, that stuff works. I'm like, yeah. And I was really new into doTERRA. And so it definitely heightened my belief that, you can say something about, I feel a little bit more energy. But when you can see crow's feet go away within 3 days, it speaks volumes.
And that was the Immortel that did that?
Yes, Immortel, exactly. And it was not even crow's feet, it was a furrow. Yes, sir.
Amazing. Absolutely amazing. Well, we're learning a lot here about a lot of different things, as always. If you got a question or comment, give us a call at 800-313-9443. I'm not.
All that noise is I got to. That's my tent. I'm getting ready to go to class now, so I've got. Sound like
a zipper. So you're zipping up to class, the zippers to go to class. Well, Leon, when you're an active guy and you got aches and pains after a day of trying not to be captured on survival and escape, that's when the deep blue comes in, isn't it?
Absolutely. And so, blue is a mix of several different. Matter of fact, I'll read right off the bottle. And so, it comes in many different ways: a roll-on, just a typical drip bottle, and also the rub. Now we even have a complex, deep blue complex, which is made specifically for people who have systemic arthritis. So in this case, I'm looking at it. What's in there is wintergreen, camphor, menthol, peppermint oil, eucalyptus oil, capsicum, which is the same thing that's in peppers, and which is very, very effective in dilating. Blue chamomile, blue tansy, helichrysum. And so when you use those for like back pain or any other localized pain, you can rub it on, you can roll it on, use it during massage therapy. It works phenomenal. And I use it when I go skiing in advance, because if I know I'm going to be skiing from 8 o'clock till 8 o'clock the next night, or that night, and I don't stop for lunch with my son, we just eat on the lift. So I put it on in the morning. And it was funny. We went to Vail last week, and he said, my back hurts. So I rubbed it on his back, and he's like, Dad, I love that deep blue. And he's 12 years old now. So, he's seen the benefits of the oils. And it's funny, even his teachers know about it because he educates them as well.
That's funny. the student educating the teacher. That's great. Just talking about deep blue reminded me, growing up, some of my classmates, their parents were so risk adverse that they wouldn't allow their boys to participate in any sports where they might get injured, which basically sets the tone for the rest of these boys' lives. Unfortunately, if you get involved in contact sports, you're going to get hurt. That's part of it. I say get over it and get yourself some deep blue and turn these boys into men.
Precisely.
If you think you can turn a boy into a man and not have them exposed to any injuries, you're basically fooling yourself, aren't you, Leon?
Precisely. And I understand what you're talking about. Especially moms, like, oh, he's my precious. And I have the same sentiment, but it's like I want him to be a man and realize that, if you focus and you stretch, you minimize injury. stress injuries. And so things of that nature are important. But yeah, it's important that they realize that if they're focused, they get in less pain because they don't do silly things. They don't place themselves in the wrong spot. But yeah, there's going to be pain. It's part of life.
Absolutely. Well, you learn a lot in contact sports. You learn who you are. You learn what your limits are. You learn you can do things that you may not be able to do otherwise. And at the end of the day, you might put some ice on the injured body part, follow it up with some deep blue, and be ready to hit it the next day, right, Leon?
Absolutely. You're right about that.
That's the way it works. And you young mothers out there listening to us, these boys, they need to be active. They need to be involved in my opinion, in contact sports. The original concept for football, Leon, was to turn weak city boys into men. That was the country boys didn't need that. They're out there loading hay and pushing cattle around and doing all these active things that farmers do growing up. But the city boys aren't necessarily exposed to that kind of vigorous activity, and that's what football does for the city boys, doesn't it, Leon?
Yes, sir. I used to do high school football as well, and I started getting, when you run into somebody head on, I started getting migraine headaches and seeing stars every impact, and I was like, and so that movie Concussion may have saved a lot of lives, but it also it may have emasculated a whole generation of people as well.
Unfortunately, and that's I'm convinced the liberals and the communists and socialists are behind that. Risk adverse to the point of emasculating these boys. We're going a lot of different directions here, but the bottom line, in my opinion, is don't be afraid of being active or sustaining small injuries. Get out there and do what it takes to accomplish your goals. And the doTERRA oils will help you accomplish your goals by giving you the energy you need and the health you need. Here's our last break. Stay tuned. We'll be right back.
Hey, John.
Hold on. All right, we are back, ladies and gentlemen. We're back. J.R. Moore here on Tuesday, the 20th of March. Well, Leon had to scoot to his class, and he'll be back with us next Tuesday. These Tuesdays I look forward to every week, and I learn a lot. I know that you learn a lot. The doTERRA essential oils, they're the real deal. They're mentioned hundreds of times, not doTERRA, but the essential oils are mentioned hundreds of times in our Holy Bible, the Christian Bible. They're there for a reason. They work. People have been using essential oils for thousands of years for various health-related matters, and they will continue to for thousands of years. That's just the nature of essential oils. They work. You want to get started yourself doing what Leanne and I do. Send me an email. My email address is thelibertyman@aol.com. And by return email, I will send you my doTERRA website link. Get yourself a copy of the book, Modern Essentials. 5th edition is a good place to start. You also want the 9th edition at some point. They're both excellent. They both have their own merit. And it's pretty simple. It's pretty simple to get started with doTERRA essential oils. Start building your inventory of oils that you can hand down to your children and your grandchildren. That's what I'm doing, building a stock of oils that can be used decades into the future. As long as they're kept in a cool, dry, dark place, they're going to last for, well, we don't know how long they'll last, because the 3,000-year-old oils found in King Tut's tomb were still viable. How about that? Let's look at the rest of the week here. We should have Professor McCanney with us tomorrow. Thursday, Tim Spencer. Friday, Tim's going to carry my show for me. I'll be on the road, and that will finish out our week. Looking forward to visiting with you the next 2 days, and then I'll be on the road Friday. Be sure and check out what Professor McCain is going to say tomorrow. He always has some interesting insights and ways of looking at things that nobody else has. I hope to have Sam Andrews with me once a week now for the foreseeable future. Oh, I almost forgot. We should have Jeff Nyquist with us second hour tomorrow. Jeff has been very popular. The reports I'm getting back on Jeff's performance here on the show have been excellent, as I knew they would be. And we'll have second hour tomorrow with Jeff Nyquist. I talked to Steve Whitman. His new book is about to be published. We're looking at possibly next week or 2 weeks at the most, having Steve Whitman back on to talk about his latest book. I'm looking forward to reading it myself. He's an excellent writer. Really does a great job putting. They're real page turners. These books are real page turners, and looking forward to reading that next book. Well, we're here into the nearly end of the first quarter of the year. How about that? That's it for today. Your medical supplies, your energy cleaning, your essential oils. Now, while you can, your firearms and ammunition. Never ever grip your guns. Please do have fun, safe, productive day. And God bless America.